Welcome to FanCon.
Don't
All
forget the
right,
fat
for
guy. They call
first
me Dab.
topic, be close with any of our childhood friends. If not, why?
Ooh, that's. Whew. You know what? I want to start off by saying that if y'all watch our videos and y'all don't subscribe, y'all better subscribe because we got a lot of good intel. Just saying. But to get
Intel.
back to the topic, to get back to the topic, um, we all grew apart. Everybody has different prospects in life. Can I blame the kids? Hell yeah, I'm blaming the kids. I'm definitely blaming the kids. I love my kids, but I'm definitely blaming the kids. Our lives revolve around our kids. Some family members have a better outcome on taking care of the kids better than others. Not saying anything negative, but sometimes our kids, take majority of our lives. If you can find that good friend that that wants to blend in with the other family, maybe that they might live next to each other, and they might grew up for like years and years, and kids grew up with them for years and years. But
Mm-hmm.
I have not. I made new friends as I grew up. I
I feel
didn't
like
really
I feel
have.
like that kind of has to happen. You
Yeah,
grow
I didn't
apart.
really have that one friend that I grew up with when I was young. I mean, I had acquaintances, is what I considered.
Mhm.
People that I knew, and then we grew up as we go to different schools. But childhood, like from childhood, is I think once you know somebody from childhood, I think that's when the bond stays forever.
Okay, so do you
Oh,
guys have any of those childhood that you still talk to off and on? It doesn't matter how much time. Like let's just say it's been years since you talked or they moved away. Do you guys like? Does it feel like when you guys do get together, it's still the same? Are you
oh yeah,
talking still?
oh yeah. Got a couple of friends like that. I mean,
Like
just one of
I
my
think
friends.
go ahead. My bad, my bad, my
No,
bad.
I said I hit up one of my friends that commented on his son on something on social media, and we just started talking. It's been a while. We gotta link up. It's always. But I've known it since elementary school. We haven't seen each other in so long, but we know we're still friends. But on that aspect, I feel like it's weird. It's like you don't know their family aspect, your family aspect. You could be childhood friends, but then they move away, and y'all lose contact with each other. But I don't know.
Yeah, I
Hey,
don't have any. So I mean, I
damn.
can't really talk about it.
You don't have
I
any.
think, I think your interests you change. Like I've changed so much from when I was in high school, elementary to where I am now.
Hmm.
Back then I was basketball, basketball, basketball. So most of my friends were basketball related as friendships, but I'm not about basketball anymore. So,
I think if you have that family friend you're close to. Usually, your relationships are off and on because they might have moved out and they had a better life. Not
hmm
saying not saying my life ain't better than theirs, but we
Hmm.
all had our own separate lives. Like they might have want to move to Montana because Montana is a better economy way of living, or
Yeah.
they might want to move to Texas because the land is bigger you know, and they had a better opportunity for work. We can't bring them with us, but we can also communicate.
hmm
Stay in
We
touch.
can always meet up with an airport trip.
yeah,
I'll be
that's true.
flying to Texas.
But that something like that would be like on occasions, on like a special occasion or something. Unless they got money like that, where they're like, hey, you wanna fly up here for the weekend or whatever, we
Yeah,
can hang out, do something.
yeah. You better pay
That
for my plane ticket.
the what?
You better pay for my plane ticket
Oh,
because I ain't paid. Shoot.
that would be like some true friend stuff right there. Some solid friends do
I
stuff like
mean,
that.
there's some like that. Like, I have
Oh
a good
yeah.
friend that I knew when I was younger. I think I was 15, 16, and we still communicate. And
Hmm.
I still communicate like with his significant others and his family and his ex-wife and stuff like that. and we still kick it. And like we had a bond where it's like if I got you, you got me. And
Hmm.
it don't even have to be, oh, I gotta pay you back. No, it's more like, hey, I got you, you got me. And there's no in between.
Yeah.
But keeping that bond, you know, you gotta be humble. You definitely gotta be humble. You can't just have that negativity on your mind and be like, oh, he didn't pay me back for a couple weeks. I'm gonna hunt his house. I'm gonna shit on his lawn. I'm gonna wrap toilet paper all over his grass. Like you can't
Mm.
do that.
No, but
Yeah.
I think it is something that it comes back to talk, communication though.
Yeah. I mean, I had altercations where, like, my friend, I was mad. I was like, man, like, you was supposed to come get me, and man, like, I'm so mad. I shouldn't be mad. I should be, like, grateful that, he's still my friend, and he can't get me. Sorry. Oh, well, find
Yeah.
another way.
I don't know. I
Well,
feel like
was I,
you get
was I
older.
mad? Yeah, I was mad. My bad.
No, no, you good. You still good talking. I was interrupting you.
I'm, like, talking my ass off. Well, forgive me. But yeah, there's always gonna be that one friend that you're gonna have a disagreement with. But if you are a mature person, you will figure it out and not have
Well, if you're really
that
good
that
friends,
that
you can have
grief.
disagreements and not
Yeah,
get into arguments to the point where it's gonna, separate you two.
correct.
You should be able to tell your friend, "Hey, you effing up. You acting like an idiot in this situation," and they shouldn't take that to
Oh
heart
yeah.
and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh,
Take
you ain't
that.
no true friend," and get emotional.
True. Because where we from, we tell it to you real. If you
Well,
can't
yeah,
handle it,
yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what guys do. You know,
At least you hope that guys do that.
yeah, and
I
everyone
guess.
has their issues and traumas, but I would say, some people they take that as excuses, take it and use it as an excuse, and there's people that'll take that and use it as motivation.
Correct.
Yeah. To carry on with this kind of topic, not just like childhood friends, my thing is how important is friendship now that we are parents and adults? How important is it in our life?
That's a good question because it depends on how you consider friendship. Like,
Hmm.
like, like, like. Say, for instance, you're good friends with a opposite sex, and to try to answer your question, like, how well are you guys gonna be friends without have to have any intimacy involved or stuff like that? You
Yeah, but
know?
my thing is I'm bringing it in as like obviously marriage and we have kids.
Yeah.
I won't be no
Um.
friend. I'm
It's
not going to be no friends with no opposite of the sex.
no. I think it's
That
hard to have friends.
that's a good question.
I
Oh
think it's
boy.
hard to have a friend with someone that doesn't have any kids. If you have kids and you have a friend that doesn't have any kids and they don't I don't know if they realize it or they don't know what they're doing when they say, "Hey, let's go out and grab some drinks or whatever," and they say, "Oh, I can't. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have the kids. I have to put the kids to sleep, or whatever." And they just keep. They're like, "Oh, you never want to go out." They have to understand. We're adults now, and I have a family. You chose not to have kids, whatever the circumstances is, but they
I
need to
Yeah.
mean,
understand that, even if they're
yeah,
childhood friends or not, they're really good friends.
I will say,
So
I do think that you need friends. Well, I'm starting to realize this now. I will say, now that my kids are getting old, now that our kids are getting older, I want, like, well, I don't need a bunch of friends. I never liked when
no,
people had a bunch of friends,
that's what I said.
especially
When you
when they're
get
like, oh,
older,
I
your
have
circle
20,
should get
50.
smaller.
Exactly. It gets smaller, but it's more meaningful.
Hmm.
And you can lean on them a little bit, not lean on them like because obviously I'm married, I lean on you, Julian, but it's different when you have that friend that you could joke with, have
Yeah,
fun. But I will say, like, I'll say this, like, Jeffrey, you have older kids, so your
yeah,
friends kind of either have no friend, like they have no kids, or they have to be older. You get what I'm saying? They can't be 1 2 years old because that you're not in that situation of your life.
yeah.
correct. It's hard to it's hard to like, okay, like you're right, my kids are older, so I'm looking for a friend that has older kids or don't have any kids because it's easier because the kids are older and they can interact to what we can do
Hmm.
without had to be any penalty or anything like, oh, they can't do this ride because they're too small, or they can't do this
Exactly.
ride because they're too young. So it's a benefit. I'm blessed that my kids are this age right now because there's a lot more we can do without any complications. But with a friend, it's hard. It's really hard to do things with. I'm not saying for everybody. I have to elaborate that because I have um, friends that has younger kids,
Hmm.
and we can't do the same things we do. But if anything, like, hey, we want to go to Disney World. Okay, my
Yeah.
kids are not have no problem going to Disney World because they're of age, but also it's more kiddie in my opinion. The theme park is more for
They're
like
gonna
little
get
kids.
bored. They're gonna be like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. I can't do like what's a small kid can do. Like that's where my mind's at. I don't know what to do for a
Hmm.
kid that's a little bit smaller than my kids. But if my kids are doing their thing and I want to be catering to this beautiful little child, then I can do that separately. Sometimes
Yeah.
I have to separate or balance it out. Or we can also go somewhere to eat. That's we all can do that.
Yeah, you have to be more accommodating. That's why I
yeah.
said I think your friends change.
And no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, where you are in life. So that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I'm trying to interrupt you. Planning, like short notice stuff, can't really do anymore if you have kids. Like,
Listen,
I've had multiple friends hit me up, and they know I have kids. They're like, oh, hey, there's a car meet right now. Hey, come out right now. I'm over in this area. And I'm like, bro, I'm home in bed. Like, I'm not gonna jump out of bed to come to some car meet and stuff. Like, it doesn't work like that. You can't.
it's like
I don't do short notices anymore.
it's like old age said it. Like I don't have time
Yeah,
for that late night
yeah.
shenanigans.
Hmm. When I was
80
younger
past,
in my
I'm be honest
twenties,
with you.
yeah, I'll be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm
80
out
past
there.
10 o'clock, you have me outside already inside my house.
Hmm.
I'm hanging up on you.
Well,
I'm
that's
Yeah,
why
be
I said
like,
I think your friendship changes, even if it's a childhood friend. If it's not, and you're
yeah,
still trying to find a connection and friendship, like I said, I don't talk to anybody. I mean, I have friends that I've seen on Facebook that I went to high school with, or I have a friend on Facebook that I went to elementary with, but we're not close. I'm not talking to them. I'm not hanging out with it. It's just
yeah,
like a
yeah.
hi. So I don't have that, and it's because I've changed, and things
And
change.
you're
But I will
supposed
say
to.
now I have a friendship. I have one friend, literally, I could say this,
Hmm.
that we connect, but we also are kind of like on the same parallel as like our kids are very similar. We think kind of similar,
Hmm.
so we have that connection, and like we are the same. Like I had friends before, even Julian seen my transition of friends as a mom. You know, like if someone gets divorced, we're not in the same ballpark anymore. I'm sorry. Like if you were married and you had your kids were hanging out, but now you're divorced, they're on a whole different path. They are single, they are mingling, they're I'm not on that path, I'm happily married.
it
So I
takes
will
a
say like different paths and different situations, but I do believe that even if it's not your childhood friend, I do believe that you do need to find friendship, but not
Hmm.
with multiple. I feel like how do people have time that we have three kids, we have three little kids. How do you have time for like four or five friends? I don't get that.
Yeah.
it takes a special person to develop that balance to do all that, especially like you said, the three kids. Maybe they can go to a park and they
Yeah.
all just play with all together. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
or we can, hey, you know what? We can have like a football game or baseball game outside in the backyard. They're all running around trying to catch that ball. So you got to be creative, in my opinion. You have to be
I feel
Well,
very
like
creative.
you
I
have to
feel
be
like
creative. You have to be
can
flexible.
you can do
Uh,
that, but then it comes back to like kind of like you back in like elementary where you can have a group of friends and get together and do stuff, but once you have a group of friends, four or five more, there's always gonna be that one person that doesn't like one person in the group that's gonna talk about them. Like, oh, I don't like the way she does this. They're gonna gossip amongst each other, or gossip
Yeah.
to one other friend about that other friend. The more friends you
It's
have,
funny because you don't get that. Like, hear me out. I'm all for the ladies, but you don't get that a lot from men. Usually, men usually gravitate to each other better than most women. I'm not saying all, but say for instance, it's five group of women,
yeah,
and that one friend out of that five group of women, something that they do they don't like, but for some reason it works for the other two versus that one that doesn't like the other.
hmm it happens. It happens among a group of guys too, man. They'll be like, "Nah, don't invite Kevin. Don't invite that guy.
Yeah.
He he's annoying, man. He does weird stuff. Why you gonna invite him for?"
Well, that's true.
They'll be like, "Nah, he's funny. I like him. I don't
I
like
know.
Like he's goofy. He picks his nose for no reason.
him."
I saw it, and y'all didn't see snap.
So it happens amongst both genders. So
It does. That's why I said I think there should be, if you can and you have the time, I guess, yeah. But I'm even in high school, I didn't have the time to have a bunch of friends. It was usually just one or two that I talked to daily. So, but I
mm,
It's
do
always
think it's
gonna,
important for parents, you know.
yeah, it's always gonna be a small group with when you get older.
yeah,
Kind of like how it was back in the day when you
yeah,
had
it should
all
be.
these friends playing basketball. But we ended with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 16 minutes. Yeah, that's good enough. Next topic.
All right. So now we're gonna dive into, are spankings necessary in this day and age, and what are the pros and cons of spanking?
Oh, I like this
Well,
part.
we're all millennials, so
Hey, from
we
19 to the 1900s to the 2000s, if DCA came knocking on my door at that time, there's a good reason I spanked the crap out of my children. I got
DCF.
spankings. I got spankings. But I think from 2000 and to now, you're doing time.
Nah,
I will say there is a little bit more consequences, especially with DCF. I think they're a little bit
involved.
too involved in certain circumstances. Not saying that they don't need to be involved, because I've been in cases,
Hmm
where I'm
But see,
like, oh, we need
I
you to
don't
be
have,
involved. Like
I
I'll
don't,
even tell you this. When I did parenting and education classes as a mental health counselor here in Brevard County, I had to do a parenting class, and we would have 12 lessons. They would be
you want
mandated
more?
by DCF to do this parenting
You want more?
class. And we actually had a scale, a 1 all the way to 10. And we had to show the parents that a 1 is okay. That's like a tap.
hmm
2 is like a spanking on the bottom, but not hard. But once you got to 5 and up, it was like like it should have been obvious you don't spank like that. You're not gonna do it to the bruises and they're beaten and they're on the floor and you're leaving marks. It was weird. I had to do it. It was an education class. Like I said, the parents were in there for a reason. But
Listen, I don't know about DCF, but you can't tell no Caribbean Hispanic person that. So people from the islands, you getting your butt whooped. I'm not talking about no abuse, but you mess up, you getting your butt handed to you.
I can't say much because I have respect for the ones that I know, but they have their good intentions because they want the best for their family, and there's other ways to discipline your children without even whooping their butts. I have never whooped Jeremiah and shot my kids' butt. I have never whipped their butt. I have
Okay.
gotten serious and aggravated, but I had to be stern with my voice. But I don't remember beating any of them. I remember I got beaten. I remember one time I got beaten, and I think it was 16. I don't remember how old I was, 15, 16. And I grabbed that belt from my mom. Mom, if you seeing this, it was just that time. I learned my lesson, and I became a great man because of it. But is it necessary? Like you said, Crystal. I mean, it depends on the the warning labels. Like, one, if you did this, you get something taken away. Two, if you did it again, yada yada yada. And three, oh, you're gonna get a pat in the butt. It's
yeah.
necessary.
I think it's very necessary. They're gonna click back and gonna hit register in their brain like, oh, I don't want to
Like,
get, I don't want to get spanked
spanking a
again.
hand, yeah. or like, you
Yeah, it depends
know,
on what
I'm
the
popping the boat
is.
real quick,
Mm-hmm.
but aggressively, like with a switch or belt, and you wail on that child.
Well, that's what we got back in the day.
That's and guess how we were. Guess
We
how we
we
act
were
now.
raised with respect.
Yes, but
But you got to
now,
look at it because you know you're gonna have people here that are gonna come on. I'm gonna say this. Yes, maybe it did cause you trauma. I'm sorry
What
that I guess it
trauma?
did. But I will say, I do believe that certain circumstances need a belt. You need to get spanked. Other circumstances, that's why I will say, diving into is positive parenting working? I'm gonna say yes and no. Like the other day, I was at a park and this kid yelled at her mom right in front and was like, "I'm not leaving the park," and she had to be like 5, and the mom just sat there and like, "Yes, we need to go. We need to go now."
yeah.
And see me, I'm gonna be like, people will know. I'm not gonna be like, no, we're done. We're leaving now. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what's gonna happen. But no, she sat there for a good 10 minutes, still telling her daughter to leave the park. 10 minutes total. And I sat there and I was like, your child is not listening to you. Your child, and I sit here and I think society wise, positive parenting is there's a time and a place for it. I get it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But what if you do something bad in society? Where do you go?
But the children
Oh,
need to
you
know
going to
there's a
jail?
hierarchy.
You
There is
going to
a
jail?
hierarchy.
You going to jail?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you got to think like that. It's we don't do positive parenting. I mean, yeah, you might get a warning on certain stuffs, but we go to jail, we go to prison, you get stuff taken away. You know, like you got to think like that too.
Just think of I like to use this analogy because it's a better way to understand what we're talking about. Think of it like a job. You go to job, you mess up, you get a warning. You get a written warning. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
second time you get suspended. You build a timeout. You get in the corner, you gotta sit there. Oh, or you get terminated. Oh, you getting that butt whipping. You getting that butt whipping because you messed up. That's how I would see it like that. If there was a reason for your negativity, it should be addressed positively, but at the same time, you should get reprehended for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say this. The pros of spanking is I do believe what Julian says. I think it does. It's just like if a child touches the oven and it's hot. They're not going to touch it again. They got burnt. You don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think they do learn it that way. And yes, after that spanking, you could go and talk to them. You got, like, I'm sorry that you got the spanking, but you don't run around in the middle of the street after I told you 4 times. You don't run in the middle of the
So
street.
so what does a spanking do? Because I heard this on another podcast. The guy was saying like, so what does a spanking does? He asked somebody else, and I guess he was like, oh, it's just discipline. But he's like, okay, yeah, it's discipline. But what does it? What does it show the child? What is the child supposed to
I've
get from
heard
that?
people,
They're supposed. They're he's saying that they're supposed to be shamed from getting a spanking,
yeah,
What
and
do you mean by
I believe that
saved?
they're supposed to be ashamed, like you're supposed to
ashamed.
shame them,
Ashamed.
whether it be in public or behind closed doors. They're supposed to be shamed by that.
Okay, I do want to add to that. Now, in a child's mind, when you just like, okay, they did something bad and you
Mm-hmm.
beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you let them know why they got that beating, or you just beat them and they think that they know what's the reason of the beating?
No,
Okay,
you
there's
talk to
two.
them.
Yeah, there's two different things. You beating a child not saying anything. That's kind of
Yeah,
like abuse
they're
right
gonna
there.
think, oh, it's it,
Yes.
it's okay, or oh wow, I get hurt for doing that. Okay, it's like how you train a dog, you hit him with
That's what it is.
the,
Yeah, shame.
the bark
Yes.
collar and for doing something bad. Sometimes you gotta let that dog know, even though he's not a human,
Well,
but you gotta talk. I think
that's what owners
communicating.
do. Well, that's what dog owners do. They either they take the dog and they rub their nose into the whatever they did wrong, into the mess they made. They rub their face in it or whatever.
But I
Yeah.
want to
But
get back to what you said about the hot stove, because like most fathers be like, "Oh, how does it feel? It hurt, right? Bet you won't do it again."
oh yeah, yeah, you won't
That
do that
that's
again, huh?
non positive, like aggressive. It's like a passive aggressive.
Well, they
Um,
in that
get that
situation
information out.
they already got the whooping
Uh
and
huh.
they burned themselves, so they know now. They got to, but the
Yeah,
kids got
there's
to
no
learn. They
point
got to
of
learn
that.
somehow.
And do I think there's constant spanking? Like I said, I think there's obviously if you're spanking a lot all the time,
Yeah, you got
continuously,
an
Then
issue.
you
You
got a
got an
problem.
anger issue.
you
Yeah,
got a
you have an
problem.
anger. You
I
have a
do
problem.
think that, like I said, it should be once in a while. Like being 30, almost 35, I will say the spankings that I got when I was a kid, I deserved them. Like I'll even say it
Yeah,
right now. I
Yep.
deserve everything. Like I'm
and
not
that's
gonna
what
sit
made you
here
the
and be like,
person you are today.
or that too. I wouldn't be the person I am today. And two, I learned my lesson, and now that I think about it, I'm like, damn, I probably deserve way more than a spanking. I almost burnt down the house. Like my mom, talked to me after, even though like I understand some people are like, oh, you should have just sat him down. No, I needed a spanking, and
Well,
I'm
you
like,
see that in society. People grow up and you thinking like, oh yeah, that person didn't get spanked when they were younger. Look how they're acting. They're entitled. They think they own the world. They
True.
think they can
yeah,
push anybody around, do whatever with no consequences.
well that too. But then people are gonna come on, and I only reason I know this for those who are watching, I've heard everything from counseling. Yes, I know there's parents out there that spanked way too much. Yes, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that you endured that. But I know that there's parents that didn't even touch you at all, and all they did was, hey, I'm gonna count to one, two, three, or hey, I worked at daycares, and I remember one daycare I worked at, and they're like, if they get in trouble, send them to the cozy corner. What? Those two
The
things
cozy corner.
clash. You're in trouble, but you're going to a cozy corner?
It's
That
a
don't make no
joke.
sense.
That's a joke to them. Well, it's
you
just
That's
you
why I
like
was like, that
comfort
didn't make no
you're
sense.
comforting their behavior is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not disciplining them in the right way. You comfort
No.
no. I think okay, like okay, this is my thing. They love their technology. They love their phones, right? Okay, that's the first one. If you act up
Take
and
it
you do
away.
something,
Mhm.
I'm taking that away. I'm not gonna knock you off your feet because you did something wrong. I'm gonna positively say, you know what, I'm gonna take this from you because you don't know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you consistently do it and I catch you doing it, yeah, I think you should get a butt whipping. There's a thin line in where you should use that resource than to just automatically whoop them consistently. Like you were saying earlier, that dude, you have anger issues.
Well,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying.
I think you just want to whip just because you want to whip, and
Well,
that's what
that's where I'm going
Yeah,
on. Like
yeah
that you have issues. If you experienced as a child, I'm sorry, that is horrible.
and maybe you have trauma from
But
that.
like,
But regular
yeah because
whoopings,
that's
you
when
shouldn't
kids
have to
becomes
be.
bullies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that you have anger issues, you don't know how to process things,
Hmm.
like a bunch of things. There's a whole bunch into that. That's why I said they're probably the ones that got sent to my parenting education class. But comment like think about it for us. Who among like if you really think about your spankings that you got, did you deserve them?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I
I'm not
literally
gonna.
can't sit here and be like, oh, I don't deserve that spanking.
Yeah, I got a
Every spanking I
spanking.
got, I was like, yeah, I did do that.
I went out because we didn't celebrate Halloween. We never celebrate Halloween because my mom didn't celebrate it. It's evil. She thought it was evil, whatever. But I just wanted to go out with my friends. All my friends were going around. I wasn't gonna go collect candy and stuff because we didn't celebrate Halloween. So I rebelled. I went out, took my bike, went riding around with my friends on Halloween. Just I didn't collect any candy. I just watched them or whatever. Then came back home. I didn't listen, and I got a whooping for that. Deserved.
So I guess is yeah. If you was told not to do it
Mm-hmm.
and you do it anyways, that's when the beating becomes an issue. That's when the beatings need to be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say
If you
beating. I would just say spanking because beating actually sounds like beating.
You gotta watch what
oh
you say.
yeah,
You gotta watch your
that
words.
that that, that does a bad
I'm
spanking.
just saying,
Yes,
like,
you get a spanking on the butt. But
yeah,
if you did something wrong and you was not notified before and you feel like you were okay with doing it, but you've been reprehended about it, not in a spanking way, but you've been told sternly or you've been told not to do that again, there shouldn't be any spanking because you didn't know any better.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I
You
will
know what
say
I'm
though,
saying?
we need to think about it too because our kids are growing up in a different era than we grew up. Because there was
Yeah.
nothing that our parents could really take away. I mean, what were we doing? We weren't playing with much. We
Yeah.
didn't have no phone. You get what I'm saying? I will
We
say
had to
that
treat it
taking
as
away the
friends.
phone, taking away the TV is very helpful because it's addictive behavior. So you take that away, it is a punishment to them, like really a big punishment, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something they love to do consistently that should be
Video
taken away.
games.
Yeah.
Or
Oh yeah. We
video
had
games.
time limits on TV and video games
Yeah.
Hmm.
in our household. We had time limits on those.
So I will say
But
those are still work. So that is considered a positive parenting thing, obviously. I think that works. I would think that, you know, but like I said, going out in the middle of the road and you're warning your child 4 times and they still do it. Yes, we need to walk the butt. We need to spank the
oh
butt a little
yeah,
bit because you're not listening. Because the next thing that happens, you're gonna die. So it's either hey,
yeah.
I gotta
And
go implement
you
this.
gotta explain that to them too, in
And
which I
just
Well,
to the
did.
yeah.
point,
Well, that's what I'm
hopefully they
saying. Usually, you don't spank the first time. Usually, parents are pretty good of hey, so and so, don't do that. We don't do that. I'm gonna give
yeah.
you this warning. You know, we're not like I said. If you're getting it and no one gave you warning or nothing, like you have some anger issues. But I know I give warning. Julie knows. I mean, even Julian
Mhm.
gives warning. We're warning you. Hey, after this, you're gonna get a spanking. You know, you're gonna get, and that's what happens to society. Hey, keep speeding, keep drinking and driving. Your ass is going to jail. You know, you get what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like, you
Oh
got to look
yeah.
at it that way because your kids are gonna grow up into society and think, oh, my mom, you know, all they did was
It's,
talk, no consequences. You gotta
Mhm.
balance it
nah.
out.
When you get older, you at that age limit when you know how to drive for your own self. Listen, it ain't gonna be any easier. You're gonna get your punishment is gonna just be as worse as that whooping.
Well,
So you better
exactly.
take that
So
whooping when you're at that young age
Yeah.
and appreciate it.
I don't know if I appreciated it. But I needed it. I
No kid
definitely
did.
needed it.
Thank you,
Like,
mother, for that spanking. I needed that.
I needed that.
so thank you, mom. I deserve it. Like what child would be like, yes, mom, I deserve that spanking. Thank you very much.
well,
I will say now
I,
I
I
do. I definitely deserve those couple spankings I did get.
now
Man, there's
I
so
think
many.
there's a difference between mothers and fathers to give spanking. Like I think every child is terrified of their father's spanking, but when it comes to their
Oh, cause you
mothers,
got that strength behind you.
no,
Yeah.
because like with my kids, my son, all I gotta do is raise my voice, and he starts bawling, crying, scared.
Yep.
Yep.
Now,
It's that male integrity.
yeah,
Or
Crystal over here slaps him, spanks him. He don't even cry. He just okay,
he's
and
like,
then runs off.
you try to give me a love tap,
Okay,
mom?
but
All
I
right,
will
And
mom.
then
say
I
this:
look at
God made you to be what you are, men,
yes,
to
I
take
know.
Facts.
care of men. Me, I'm
Facts.
a nurturer, so yeah. If I'm home and you're not home, sometimes all I gotta do is be like, okay, wait till Daddy gets home,
Hmm.
Facts.
and they straighten up. That's what you're supposed to do.
Hmm.
True. Not just be like, oh,
But I look
I'm
at
gonna
it
make
like,
some milk.
you spank him. He's not even phased by it.
Oh
He
no.
doesn't care.
Okay, but I will say though, when I take the tablet, like I said, you got to go to the option that you can. I take the tablet away, or I take TV time, or I take his Pokemon cards away. He's like, I don't want mom to
Not
do
the
that. She'll take it
Pokemon
away.
cards.
Yeah, like she doesn't
Yeah.
Oh
want, you know.
no.
You also got to fit what you
Hmm.
got to go at what your what type of kid you have. Like Luna, we don't have to do that.
No,
Luna's scared to get in trouble in any type of trouble at all.
that's always the first child.
But the thing is, she wasn't like you get what I'm saying. Like she didn't even. She's a good kid. Like we never had behavioral issues with her ever.
I
That's
think the
why it's
first
funny
I think the
because
first or older child usually respects more. I'm
they
not saying
Hmm.
do
the
because
youngest.
like we
That's
don't
what
have
I'm saying.
issues.
It's always the middle child that's always the issue, Julia. I'm just joking.
It explains a lot.
Nope.
Damn.
I got straight A's.
You sure about
I
that?
was a good child. Got paid for my A's.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay.
Uh huh. Where were you? Huh?
Listen, I was old enough to get my own car and do
Nope.
whatever I want.
You didn't get your own car. You're
I
out
still
there
got to whoop it afterwards.
stealing your mother's car and hitting a
Oh,
pole.
oh, no, no, I
Uh
didn't even
huh.
hit. I jumped over the pole. I've done that.
That's even worse.
Oh, I got a whooping. Oh, that was, oh my God. I remember one time I took my mom's, she had a, old seven. It's called Chevrolet at the
Yeah, yeah.
time, and I drove that thing. This the down the street and drove it back. My mom flipped out. You
See?
could have hurt yourself. You could have been an angel. I'm
Yep.
sitting here like, man, I could drive this thing if I wanted to. Boy, I was all
All people
Rebellious.
rebellious.
think that. Could you imagine a Shauna doing that, Jeffrey?
Listen,
Mm-mm.
oh, ooh,
I ain't never did that. I have respect.
ooh.
Every time I would ask mom, are you
And
busy using the
old.
car?
I don't have an old car. I have a. It's only 5 years old. This is
Yeah.
I would, that would have been a
What if she
whooping.
jumped the curb and curved up your wheels, tires, blown? Oopsie.
Oh, that would have been a whooping. See,
Oopsie.
that would kind of contradict what I'm about to say.
It's because I'm a
If you could,
Capricorn.
because you kept, nah, because I'd be like, okay, she didn't know any better, and I whooped her. But that's my prized possession. But you also got to think about it.
No, they
Whose
know
life is
better.
it? Whose life is important? The child or the vehicle? The
Well, of
child.
course, a child. But they
I gotta
don't
be.
say
I gotta
they
be
don't know
like,
better. They know
yeah. I
better.
gotta be like, why? Why'd you do that? And be like, no, you could have hurt yourself. You could have got injured. Are you okay? Stuff that like that. But if you took my car and went, oh, my backhand will hurt because I'd be hitting myself. Just like, why'd you do that? No, don't take my car, please. Get your own car. But it's all about parenting, raising kids
Yeah.
right. Because if your kids are raised right, they won't do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you saying you weren't raised right, Jeffrey?
I wasn't saying that.
He was getting
I was
influenced
just.
by his friends.
No, it was more like you when you at that stage in life, and at that time, where was there anything else to do? There was
Curiosity.
nothing else to do.
Curiosity.
Yes, that's when your curiosity start kicking. Like, I wonder how fast this car goes. You
Well,
know what I'm saying? And then at the time when you're right now, it's like, oh, I wonder what social media is doing. Or what my friends doing on social media. So it's kind of like you kind of have that distraction from what you could have done when you were back in the day versus now.
hmm.
Yeah.
So that being said, I ain't gonna make my mouth mad at you. That'd have been a sin waiting to happen.
Well, I will say those two topics are interesting: the friends in childhood
Yeah.
and spankings.
But you also gotta take advantage of subscribe, y'all
Subscribe.
imbeciles, because y'all don't know what y'all missing.
I
I'm
will
just
say
saying.
we will try to bring in someone next
Yeah.
time to discuss a little bit more on family because I know a lot of
Ooh,
people have
All
family
ages,
issues.
older, younger, get their perspective.
bring my mama on.
So, yes, like, comment, share. We like constructive
Y'all
criticism
better
and
subscribe.
Oh
Hey, you
yeah.
you can say all you want. I'm gonna be like, oh, is that how you feel? Oh, okay.
Kids,
Well, the
jump
topic
in the
is
comments.
about not you. Ha! That's what we want to talk about.
Hmm.
Hey, I love y'all.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in.
I better tune in next time because y'all missing a lot. We're gonna have some good
Yeah.
stuff next time.
Okay.